In the ever-changing world of today, the idealistic future with flying cars and cyborgs might not be that far away. In recent years, a new window has opened in the opportunities of artificial augmentation. Once something only found in films and video games, now is becoming a reality. But what does this mean for such great innovation to come into the world so soon? Is the world ready for such wonders? The world has always been in need of better prosthetics and artificial augmentation for the injured as long as there's been wars and poverty. But what if it became a sense of fashion? What if such augmentations became a part of the norm in society and was treated like the newest iPhone? Would the world today reject such changes or embrace it in open arms? Here are some of the leading professionals and their understanding on the world of prosthetics to help you make your own decision.
Absolutely not. Just because you're missing an arm, a leg, an eye, doesn't change who you are as a person. It's just a piece of anatomy. You can still fully function as an individual with a prosthetic. It doesn't change how you think as a person. It doesn't change how you respond to other people. It doesn't change your emotion, the way you deal with things and the way you process things. So it doesn't, in my opinion, change who you are as a person. It's just something that has happened.
That's a good question, and probably the answer comes from what is the actual definition of what is a human, right? If you think it in terms of, just a scientific point of view, as long as you can reproduce and have offsprings, fine, you're a human. But from a moral point of view, as long as the person is conscient, understands what's going around him, and he knows what he is or what's in his body, that's still a human. It's what's in the head rather than what's in the body that really breaks between what's a human and what's not.
The first hand transplant, done in 1998, lasted 2 years before the recipient asked for it to be amputated again because he felt detached from it. So there is something about the integrity of it. Now with implanted devices, there may be more of a sense that they belong to you. You probably know, if you've ever had a crown fitted on one of your teeth, it doesn't take you long for it to feel like an ordinary tooth. But multiple implants might have some effect on humanness, really depending on how many there are. It might end up like Trigger's brush. You probably don't remember Trigger, but he was a character in a comedy called Only Fools and Horses. And he was quite a simple character, and he swept the roads. And he was very proud of the brush he carried. And he said he'd had it for 20 years, same brush for 20 years. And it had only ever needed 2 new handles and 4 new heads. And of course most of us would say, well, that's not the same brush. And there may be that kind of feeling if you get multiple implants.
Well, I think, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't really predict what the future will be like. But I'll make the following statement about fiction and science fiction, like you're saying, which is, I think that they, by and large, portray what we should have severe caution about human augmentation, because basically, when I think of all of the characters who would fit into that mold where, they're augmented humans, usually there's not a good outcome. I mean, they're mostly dystopian views. So obviously the parent of all of these ideas in fiction is Frankenstein. So Frankenstein was this life form created by a human, and that didn't work out very well, right? Similarly, if you saw Battlestar Galactica, the Cylon, the life form constructed by humans, eventually gets sick of us humans and try to kill us all. So, by and large, the fictions have been negative, and so I think of them as perhaps a appropriately cautious message in popular culture, which is, to say you should really be cautious before you engage in this. So I don't know if they are accurate or inaccurate, but I would say they're largely negative.
Absolutely. I mean, no one knows what the future's going to be, and all we have is people's interpretations and people's imaginations to help us really think about what it could be like. So there's no reason to say why what you see in Call of Duty or what you see in Halo may not be what happens hundreds of years down the line, not necessarily within our lifetime, but definitely it could be what the future's going to be like.
Definitely not.
Well, the thing is, we don't know. Anything could happen in the future. No one knows. No one can predict what's going to happen 150 years down the line.
I don't think it's something that's ever been correctly looked at. I think it's something that's only ever on the sideline. I've never known anybody to actually use that as a subject for a documentary or a film or a program. It's always as an afterthought or as a part of something else.
So there you have it. But you must ask yourself, what do you think of augmentation becoming a part of this world? Although such advancements still have a long way to go, and still have yet to be scrutinised by the ethical professions of today, I think that it's never too early to ask yourselves, what do you want the world to become?